So that was pretty quick. The Raiders have signed Germaine Pratt to a 1-year, $4.25 million deal. He just got released from the Bengals, I believe, around 40 hours ago. So fair play to the Raiders. I think he's a pretty good player. And the Raiders are more or less in year one of a rebuilding year under Pete Carroll. So to add in a veteran linebacker who's been around for a minute, who played pretty well a season ago, I just think that's good for the defense and for that locker room and just for the Raiders' culture in general. So I like this move a lot. Since being drafted by the Bengals in the third round in 2019, Pratt has had a total of 32 tackles for a loss, 7 interceptions, 23 pass deflections, and 7 forced fumbles. So sure, he's not a beast or anything, but I think he's a solid veteran player to add to that defense. And as of right now, the Raiders linebacker room looks like Germaine Pratt, Roberts, Devin White, and Tommy Eichenberg. So definitely not the most elite linebacker room in the league, hence why they had to make this transaction. Raiders fans, talk to me. Do you like this move? Do you care about this move? Let me know in the comments below. And as of today, Pratt becomes the Raiders' highest paid linebacker. So over the next 2-3 years of this rebuild, I really think they're going to start focusing on defense in the next couple of off seasons because it's a pretty bare defense, clearly. Recently, Jair Alexander got released. I'm curious to see if the Raiders are going to give him an offer, but who knows, maybe Jair wants to play for more of a championship caliber sort of team right now. So I say low-key keep an eye on that move. But just in general for the 2025 season, I feel like this is the most excited the Raiders fan base has been for a season in a long, long time. Probably since the John Gruden era with Derek Carr and maybe Antonio Brown for a couple months. Maybe that year that they were on Hard Knocks. But me personally, I'm really excited to see how Brock Bowers does in year 2. You know, he had a historic rookie season in the NFL for a tight end. My opinion, he really didn't get enough attention and credit that he truly deserves. The dude was a beast. He went off clearly. Just take a look at his stats. And I feel like no one really talked about him. I do understand to a certain extent, you know, the Raiders weren't the best team a year ago. Just brutal quarterback play, so why would the media really pay attention to them and all that? But still, when you have a historic start to your career, I just feel like he should have got a bit more limelight. And with the addition of Geno Smith, you have to think that he's hopefully even going to take his game to another level because his quarterbacks were terrible a year ago. And I think Geno Smith is easily better than all the quarterbacks he played with in year 1. So if this guy could keep it up, man, we're talking about easily the best tight end in the game right now. You know, George Kittle is up there in age. He's still a beast, kind of injury prone. You have Trey McBride in Arizona, Sam Laporta in Detroit. But honestly, out of all those guys, I would rather have Brock Bowers for the 2025 season for sure. But also in the first round of this past draft, Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland were taken. I don't think Tyler Warren is going to have a crazy year just because of the quarterback issue there in Indianapolis. But Colston, Caleb, that could be something. That could be something. We all know Ben Johnson comes from the Lions, and he really utilized Laporta very well. So in the 2025 season, if you're a big tight end guy or, you know, you're scouting for your fantasy team, I would definitely keep an eye on Colston in Chicago. And of course, Brock Bowers is going to be an absolute unit. But back to the Raiders, they used their first round pick on Gene T. A lot of people thought he was going to go home to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Instead, they traded up to acquire Travis Hunter. This move obviously makes a lot of sense. His player comp is baby Marshawn Lynch. You know, Pete Carroll's the head coach there. Obviously coached Marshawn for many, many years. So I feel like Ashton is going to have a pretty good year 1 in Las Vegas. You know, some questions about that O-line for sure, but really excited to see him play. And that's not a bad core right there, honestly, man. Not a bad core for a brand new regime there in Las Vegas. Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, and Genty. I just feel like that's a really, really solid foundation. Also, they brought in Raheem Mostert as well. I'm a big fan of that dude, one of the fastest players in the NFL. He was a touchdown machine 2-3 years ago. You know, he comes from a crowded backfield in Miami with Achan, Jalen, so unfortunately he didn't get a lot of playing time a year ago. And injuries have kept him off the field over the past 4 or 5 years. But I think he's a solid backup. You know, a good third down back, home run hitter. So I'm really excited to see him play. Hopefully he has some gas left in the tank. Definitely an Al Davis sort of player for sure. Just a home run hitter, man. And I hope he hits some dingers for the Raiders this season. Because he's truly electric when he's on, man. And honestly, this is probably the best running back that the Raiders have had since Darren McFadden. You know, when he was coming out of college, a huge prospect as well. Did he really live up to the hype when he got drafted by the Oakland Raiders back in the 2010s? I feel like he was an underrated player. I just feel like he was on some pretty piss poor teams, unfortunately. So he didn't really get that opportunity to shine. So I'm hoping Ashton is going to get a lot more opportunities than McFadden. We'll have to see, man. But Raiders fans, talk to me. Who has been the best Raiders running back since the year 2000 in your opinion? I'm curious to hear what all of you think. Latavius Murray was pretty solid. Same with Michael Bush way back in the day. But nowhere near the levels of McFadden and Ashton. So we'll see, man. Unfortunately, in my opinion, the Raiders have a pretty brutal start to the 2025 season. In week 1, they open up the season at New England. Sure, that's definitely a winnable game, but I think the Patriots are going to be a playoff team this year. Mike Vrabel, Drake May, year 2. They were very busy this past offseason, and they showed flashes a year ago. So I think the Patriots are going to be very legit in the 2025 season. So that's a rough start. Then they're at home against the Chargers, then at Washington, and then home versus the Bears. But in the month of October, they play the Indianapolis Colts, the Titans, and the Chiefs. So it loosens up a bit. I don't think the Raiders are going to be a playoff team in the 2025 season, and I don't think anybody is really expecting that, just because how loaded the AFC West is right now. But if they could just show flashes, if they could just show that this organization, the Raiders culture, is just finally turning a corner, I think that's the ultimate goal. Just show flashes, just show that there's hope for the future of this franchise. And I think they're in good hands. I trust Pete Carroll. I trust Tom Brady. I love Brock Bowers. Excited to see Ashton play. So I'd be feeling pretty good right now if I was a Raiders fan, for sure. Let me know how you think they're going to fare in the year 2025. Do you agree with my assessment, or do you think they could be low-key a playoff team? You never know. You know, Geno Smith went off in 2022. Maybe he could do the same thing in the year 2025. You know, he's reunited with Pete Carroll. Chip Kelly's the OC. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Maybe Mahomes will get hurt for a substantial amount of time. You never know. The NFL can be crazy. So yeah, man, if you made this far, please subscribe and like the vid. It'd help out your boy a ton. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
The Jets bring their offense onto the field, looking to capitalize on the momentum they had the last time they had it when they went the distance with a punishing rushing attack.
Oh, man, nothing a quarterback likes more than seeing his offense run the football so well. That means his offensive line is just dominating the defensive line. And you also know as a quarterback, when you throw it now, it's going to catch the defense by surprise. You get an easy completion, and usually for big yards.
Boy, that offensive line has been dominating so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, they are. They got that in them to be a dominating offensive line. I know the coach has got to be happy with what they saw in that last drive.
The Jets from the 32. It's caught by Devin Smith. And they advance the ball onto the other side of the field.
You got to be agile when you make these kind of catches, running these short drag routes across the field. That time we saw the agility of the receiver. Nice catch.
First down at the 49. Mason's brought down after picking up 6 on this play.
Always good to have these types of runs. Hey, it's not a first down, but it sends a message. It shows everybody that you can run it when you want to, and also it opens up so many other things for your offense. Mason's a very smart runner. He knows situations in the game. He saw the first down yard markers, and what does he do? He gets past them and picks up the first down.
Now first and 10. Gets the handle here. And Morris is tackled down at the 31. He's averaging about 4 yards a carry.